This conference will now be recorded.
All right, I'm sure that we'll have a few people joining us after we get started, especially those that may not have been using these remote applications over the last month, and they're navigating the technology for the first time. So I appreciate all of you that are taking the time to be here today. And we've done our best to go ahead and keep delivering our services to the community. For events that have been canceled, we've managed to get some of that prevention education out via other sources, and we're going to continue to do so until we learn more and are able to incorporate our services back to the norm that we're so used to. So today, I'm navigating. This is the first time I've hosted. I've participated in GoToWebinars and Zoom and a few of the other applications, but this is the first time hosting, so we'll see how I do navigating everything. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I do have to preface the start of this by saying that I've already talked to the adults in my house that are all old enough to understand that I'm hosting this webinar and that they need to be quiet. This Bodhi, our pet, I cannot speak for. So if you hear any barking, I will apologize ahead of time. I do have a little collar that vibrates, and I've got the remote in my hand should I need it. So I have a copy of today's agenda, and Cheryl and Sarah will be monitoring the chat box today during the meeting. And then if for some reason, if you're a call-in or you don't get your question answered and we run short on time, please send me an email and we'll make sure that we follow up with your correspondence and answer any questions or take note of any comments that you might have today. So our first line of business is to approve the February 20th meeting minutes, and they were sent out via email. We did not have the March meeting. That was when we were all transitioning into the requirements and social distancing regarding COVID. So if we could have a motion sent into the chat box. The chat box is the little circle. It's up. It should be in the top right hand part of your screen. That should open up the chat box, and then you can enter where it says, I have a little arrow that says enter your response. So we'll need a motion and then a second, and then basically I'll assume everybody's in favor unless we have anyone that opposes those meeting minutes. I'll give you just a second to do that. Okay. I have to toggle back and forth between a couple spots on my screen, and so I just checked. It looks like we're done here. Okay, so a couple updates. I would love to have more communication amongst the participants in this webinar or GoTo meeting today. There's another software that's available that makes that a little bit easier where I can have more interaction, but today being my first time and working with the chat box rather than the capability to raise hands and acknowledge people that want to speak, it's going to be a little bit more limited. So it's going to be a lot of updates and information from me. So I apologize if it gets a little mundane. We made some great progress last month, even without our meeting. And I do have plenty of updates to share, and then look forward to your responses after the webinar today. Right before we went to working remotely, I had a life skills class that I presented prevention information to, and that was at Lewis and Clark, and we had 61 students there. And the next day I was working from home, and so I haven't collected those questionnaires yet, but that's on my to-do list when things return to normal. So, apologies. So next up is going into legislative session wrap up. So obviously the legislative session is over, and there were several bills that we were following closely. There were actually 19 bills that were drug related that we were keeping our eye on. And let's see, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those passed. And so I'm just going to give a brief little recap on what those are, the bills pertaining to, and then the sponsor that was also sponsoring that bill. So House Bill 315, this amends the current Controlled Substances Act, and then what it does is adds synthetic cannabis and cathinones to the Schedule 1, matching the DEA scheduling. So that's typical of what happens when we have new synthetics that come out, and the science and chemistry switches just a little bit, and then it's kind of a game of cat and mouse, and we're catching up with policy. So Senate Bill 1348, this is another amendment to the Controlled Substances Act, and this is enhanced use of the prescription monitoring program. Currently in Idaho, we require prescribers to register for the PDMP, but they are not required to actually use it. And so this strengthens the requirements of the PDMP. House Bill 405, this is related to crimes and amends the existing law, again, related to DUIs. And this is basically saying that any commercial driver's license that a driver may hold, holding that license will make it so that they're not allowed to participate in the DUI diversion program. And you can look any of these bills up on the Idaho Legislative website if you'd like to learn more about them. House Bill 538, this was a big success. We'll be sure to thank the sponsors and other key stakeholders that really rallied to pass this legislation. This is amending current law again to incorporate electronic smoking devices into the definition of tobacco products. So I'm further down in the slides after I go over these bills. One of the things that we do each season after the legislative session is we send thank you notes to those who really rallied and advocated for some of this policy that passed. We don't disregard the ones that didn't pass. There's a lot of work that goes in, and sometimes it can take years before a bill passes in session. And so we keep a running tab of the people that are out there advocating for these and doing this work, and we make sure and let them know that we are appreciative of that by sending a thank you after each legislative session. So if you have anyone that you know has put a lot of work in and you want to make sure that we thank them, you can definitely type that into your chat box. That'll be information that we're looking to gather today. So next up, we have the MADC Annual Satisfaction Survey. And this is a survey that we administer once a year. And for those of you that are regular attendees at the MADC meetings, this is another evaluation that we do, looking at how happy our coalition members are and several different aspects of that. And this is one of the other measures that is kind of similar to the Kaizen that we had talked about. And so there's a little duplication of efforts here, and it's a really good indicator of how we're doing. And it provides a safe and anonymous way for people to provide feedback to us as well. So it's great opportunities to grow. This first, I'm going to go through all the questions. I'm going to share them with you. And at the next meeting, a few of the questions have an opportunity for you to put in specific responses or requests, comments or suggestions. And so we don't have a great format for interaction here today. So I'm going to share those as I go through this. But then at the next meeting, hopefully in May, we'll be meeting in person again. At that meeting, we will go into those suggestions and have a broader conversation about those. But again, if you have something that you'd like to add and we'll take note of, you can put it in today's chat box. So the first question is, please let us know how satisfied that you are with the MADC meetings. And the green bars are very satisfied, so that's great. We like to see that. Somewhat satisfied are the blue bars. Neither satisfied nor dissatisfied is that yellow one. And then really, I want to try to pay close attention to somewhat dissatisfied or very dissatisfied, because then I know that there are definitely opportunities for change in ways that we can do things better. So the second question actually provides that comment and suggestion opportunity to the participants that participated in the survey. And Yep, there he is. And these are some of the things that people said that I wanted to make sure that I share with everybody. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, and they're not listed in any particular order, but there were a few compliments, which we appreciate. That's nice to hear. And then on the next slide, in the red, we have opportunities for change and to broaden our conversation regarding these comments or suggestions. So the time that we hold the meetings has been mentioned in the past, and really we've been forced into a position to expand using different applications and have remote meetings and provide an overview of the meeting information in a different way. So this will really be a great trial today to see how that goes and see what the response is. We have overall the satisfaction with the meeting time and location is very high, but we do want to try to meet every community member's needs the best that we can. So we'll be seeing how today goes and look at some opportunities there. The next comment here is that the focus of the group seems to be mostly on hemp, CBD, and marijuana, and they're concerned about us maybe neglecting or not giving as much emphasis to the opioid crisis. And I thought that this was a very apropos comment or suggestion, and I'm glad that it was shared. Again, this is anonymous, so I don't know who shared this, but that helps me to remind the coalition members that there is other work in other focus groups, that some that I'm involved in, some that have opportunities for MADC members to become involved in. And for instance, Project Filter, they are obviously focused on tobacco and nicotine cessation. And there is actually an opioid specific work group in the Treasure Valley region and at the state level. I'm a part of the Treasure Valley one. And so I can definitely share more of that information at meetings to provide updates on that work that's being done, reassuring you that that's not a topic or an area in the community that we're neglecting to notice the importance of, because we certainly are. Another one suggestion here in the red is to maybe make the names on the individual signs bigger using a bigger font. We can do that. We'll run out of space at some point as they get bigger, but I recognize with a lot of attendees in our meeting room, the way that we have the table set up is very large. And so if you're sitting all the way across from the other member, you might not be able to read their name tag. So that's an easy one. We'll work on that. There was a lot of positive feedback on the organization, the flow, the information covered. So thank you. We appreciate hearing that and knowing that we're on the right track in that area. The next question is in regards to the emails. And while it's labeled as one question, there's several that are lumped in there. First, is it sent in a timely manner? And we were thrilled to see that 100% of the participants, which is 25, and let me say that that is similar to the numbers that we've experienced over the years as far as active members that have chosen to participate in this survey. Over the last 3 years, it's been offered online, and we have not seen actually a very large jump in offering it digitally and remotely. We usually do it at the meeting as well. So we appreciate those that participate, and it's a great opportunity for you to help guide us as we move forward. So back to the emails. Are they useful? Yes, and sometimes 88% say yes, so that's great. That means that we are filling the gap and providing that information that's needed in the community, so we're on the right track there. And I recognize that it's not useful to everybody all the time. Shared by you, we really like to hear that coalition members are receiving these emails and something important is resonating with them, and then they're sharing that or forwarding it on. And 48% say yes, 36 say sometimes. So that's really good. We're happy with those numbers. And then I have to close a couple things on my screen here. Bear with me for just a second. So, and then full of too much information. 58% say no, and then 33% say sometimes. And I will make a note here that with my promise to only send out 2 emails a month, some of them are pretty big. So I imagine that when I have a lot of updates and information to share about stakeholders and partners, those emails are pretty big. It's either that or I send you more emails. And as we saw, you're pretty happy with if they're sent in a timely manner and how frequent. So we don't plan to change that. Okay. Do you think there should be more email correspondence or less? 88% say keep as is. So that's good. Okay, moving on to the website. Have you ever visited the website? And let me also say that in the past year, we switched from a hosted website that was funded through grant funding over to the city website. And we're very grateful to have that partnership. That makes us unique as an anti-drug coalition in the state of Idaho, having that partnership with City of Meridian. And while the website looks very different, and it took quite a while for me to integrate the new content and get that updated, we still have quite a few people that are using it. And we did see a little bit of shift in the numbers from last year on the use of the resources. It went down a little bit, but that was because it took me a while to get those resources updated. So we're pretty happy with these numbers as well. This asks what part of the resource do you reference? The meeting minutes, resources, calendar, the resource page is the highest viewed. So that's great. That's part of our mission and wanting to provide that information to the community. In regards to the coalition as a whole, do you know how you fit into the structure? And sometimes with our new members, they're not super comfortable taking this survey. And so that would be the no. I'm not quite sure where I fit. But we have a pretty good understanding of the structure of the coalition with the executive committee, partners, stakeholders, general members, and then those sector reps who are part of the executive committee as well. Do you feel valued as a member? I would hope, we would all hope that this would be 100% yes. There's always room for improvement. And so we try, as you'll see today, super grateful for all of our volunteers, partners, and stakeholders. We couldn't do the work that we do without all of you. And that includes this past year, over 70 events and 2,100 community members. So I sure hope that everyone would know that they're valued, because we appreciate the volunteerism very much. And are your contributions recognized? 76% said yes, 16 said sometimes, and 8% said no. So again, always looking for those areas of improvement. And of course, very grateful that many of the coalition members are feeling that their contributions are recognized. So question 11, what topics would you like to learn more about? And these are some of the things, not everybody had a suggestion, but I included all of them in here. Some people said nothing at this time. I didn't take the time to incorporate that. I didn't see it as necessary. But definitely these are opportunities for us to have further discussions about the coalition and what gaps might exist in our community and how we can help fill those. The first one was trends in recovery. And I thought that was very interesting. Again, this is anonymous, so I can't turn around and ask questions on a one-to-one basis to explain more of what they meant by trends in recovery. But we definitely have partnerships with many recovery centers, and we can certainly reach out to them and see what kind of numbers they have. I'm not even aware at the state level. I will check with the Region 4 Behavioral Health Board. And maybe some of you that are here on the call today and listening know of other opportunities for us to gather some of that information. Or perhaps if you posed that question and you don't care whether or not you remain anonymous, you could certainly send me an email and we can broaden that conversation. Then we had continued support for public, local, pro-healthy lifestyle forums, community events and activities, community awareness campaigns. And I thought this was a great suggestion in that we have a lot of resources that are shared on the website. And I thought that we could definitely improve in being aware of what's going on, maybe with activities relating to natural highs or hobbies, things that people like to do. just active lifestyle type things. The Phoenix Multisport in Boise, I know that they have some events that are sometimes held in Meridian, or they have in the past, and we could definitely increase the communication of those partnerships and available resources. And then, of course, any suggestions that any of you might have regarding this we're welcome to hear and share, and we can expand the conversation around those. Next up was youth vaping and youth vaping THC. There's a lot of information out there, and I have recently, since I've been home working remotely, enhanced the resources available on the MADC webpage. And one of those is, there's a couple on there. They're listed in order of topic by alphabetical order. And the youth vaping and the youth vaping THC, out at Stanford University, out of California, obviously, they have a toolkit that they've put together that is extremely current and up to date. I believe they launched it in 2019, but I've already seen that they've done updates to it. And so that is a great resource for that. And again, this kind of goes back to us looking to see what's already out there and sharing those resources rather than duplicating efforts when there's lots of different things that we could work on. And so, while we want to provide that to our community members, we also recognize that sometimes the resource needs to be created so that we can better apply it to our target audience within our community. But I also like to let people know that there's a lot of great resources out there as far as facts, data, statistics, that kind of hard factual information. There's no need to duplicate efforts on that. And we definitely try to help bridge the links between those people out there putting those resources out and then our community members as well. Results of younger age children. That was exactly how that was typed in there. And I don't know exactly what that means. So if you posted that comment on the survey and would like to elaborate on that, you can either email me or put it in the chat box, and we'll look into that some more. I really don't know exactly what that is pertaining to. So again, that's an opportunity for expanding our conversations. So some additional question 11 suggestions on what would you like to learn more about. Opiates in our community, and some different examples of what specifically related to opiates that they would like to learn. And this is a great reminder again to me to provide the information that I share at the Treasure Valley Partnership Opioid Work Group with our coalition as well. Kind of have my hand in a lot of different pots, and so sometimes I forget to cross-share that information, which we really take pride on and work hard at. And so this is a great reminder for me to get that information together and share that with coalition members. And I will do that in the future. I have all the information. I just need to gather it together and make a point to share it at the next MADC meeting. Marijuana prevention efforts in collaboration with news speakers and law enforcement. This is certainly something that we can work on. Again, a little bit more specific detail would help us in guiding our target audience and finding a strategy in a way that we might want to implement that. If it's just looking for facts, I can certainly help with that. We have access to that information. If it's creating that information and sharing it with some different sectors throughout our community, we can work on that as well. Just a little more specifics to help guide that. And then prevention efforts by other states. This is a great one as well. There's been comments, and we'll get to them a little bit further along, that some coalition members have said that the Natural High campaign has been used for quite a while, and it would be nice to freshen that up. And that's a great opportunity for us to look at some of the prevention strategies that other states are using. So that's certainly something that we can work on in our action planning when we get back to normal. And there's something else I was going to mention in regards to that. Another way that's a great way for me to help find that information and bring it back is to go to a couple of the national prevention conferences that are held each year. The goal is for me to go every other year, and that's kind of been put to a stop given the circumstances right now. So hopefully we'll get that going sooner than later, and I can bring some of that information. I'm tripping on my tongue here. It's very strange to be talking into my laptop. I miss seeing everybody. All right. So, and then just one more suggestion that was submitted regarding question 11 is parent resources to prevent substance abuse, and then online opportunities for parents and teens to learn more information. We can certainly do that. That is actually one of the specific areas that I've worked on since I've been working remotely, in adding a few of those resources on the MADC website. There were a couple books that were recommended to me as possible resources, and I like to read those before I put them out there for the coalition and community members. And I had an opportunity to get that done. So those have been added. A couple I thought were great, one not so much. I don't necessarily recommend it, so I didn't include that. But we can always look for ways to expand these resources as well. So this is where I would say, because question 11 is looking for feedback, again, if you have anything that you'd like to share, go ahead and put that in the chat box. And question 12, excuse me, are there things that the coalition is no longer doing that you'd like to bring back for the future? And back when I started in this position, it was very insightful for me to hear from coalition members that were longtime members and had a history knowledge that I didn't have. And I'm on my 6th year, so it's been a few years, but there are still great things and ideas that come to me through our coalition members that are ideas that are new. They might come from other states or coalitions. And so this is, again, an opportunity to share those suggestions. One of them was development for younger youth programs. We can certainly talk further about that. That's a tough one. There's liability in younger youth programs. It depends on what that looks like. I've done some analysis in our community and in partnership with West Ada School District, and they do have prevention curriculum that's a requirement and integrated into the requirements for West Ada. And I've looked over all of that, K through 12, to see where there might be opportunities to expand that. There could be opportunities to meet with some of the childcare centers that we have, like Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, those types of things, where we could go in and do a prevention presentation. But unfortunately, we have a really hard time getting people to show up and attend those. We might be able to do more of that online, as we've talked about, and we'll look at in the coming months for sure. Another suggestion was maybe an annual conference, and that's a great idea. Annual conference sounds like a lot of work, and it also sounds like a bit of duplication of efforts to me. So we can have that conversation and figure out how it would be offered and that it would be unique. There's Community Coalitions of Idaho who offers training. Idaho Office of Drug Policy also helps with training and conferences. There's ICAD, the Idaho Conference on Alcohol and Drug Dependency, I think is what that acronym stands for. It's been a while. And there's the Idaho Prevention Conference as well. And so there are several opportunities with state partners for that continuing education. There are also lots of online opportunities. I've spoken with West Ada School District and the counselors, and they have so many opportunities that last year when we talked about offering our teens and substance abuse again, they actually advised against it because they didn't think that we would have very good attendance, because there was another similar training being offered just a few months before that. So we can certainly talk more, but I wanted to provide a little bit of background on some of these comments so that everybody understands what has been done and what else we could do. All right, so question 13. This is prevention strategies and programs in our community and coalition. Can't quite see all this. Again, my screen is covered. Move my icon over here. What's missing? Okay, sorry, that was covered up. So MADC does a fantastic job. Oops, I changed slides. Showing the problems with drugs in our society. So basically, I think that was a compliment, but also if there's any way for us to help reiterate that substance abuse impacts so many of us in our community, that we would like to do that. Another suggestion was looking for more fun. on one second. I have a little bit of audio feedback coming on. Can you guys hear me okay? Can I get a thumbs up from, okay, I'm seeing heads nod. Okay. I'm not sure what happened there. So fundraising programs. I'm not quite sure if that means to help others or to fundraise for MADC. If we have specific strategies that we've identified that need some funding, we typically look at our state partners and mini grant opportunities, which are actually coming up, and I'll be working on those in the coming month. So again, we can look for some more of these, but specifically tying it to a prevention strategy is key here. So we'll expand that conversation in the coming months. This one here is identifying a gap and filling it, the question from 13. And then this is, we would like to see more promotions, AA programs. There's a lot of suggestions here, advertisements, more opportunities for partnerships. And we're always looking at this. This is part of our evaluation and building our capacity within the coalition. And so we can certainly look at this. Promoting on TV, we do the annual cinema ads at the Village. We did that at Majestic as well for several years, and we still do that in the summer and then the winter. Those are the highest movie attendance times of the year. And so we opted to put our money towards that versus running. We've done billboards and we've done some commercials and PSAs before, but we didn't feel like that was the best use of the dollars at the time. So, but we can certainly talk about this more. Okay. Oh, here's the comment that I had referenced earlier, and that was that it's time to move on from the natural high campaign, and that it's been used for a long time. And for those of us that have been working with the campaign when we've been out at the community, working MADC events or with partners, yes, it could seem like it's been around forever. But I did also want to say that until we find something that we'd like to replace this with, when we're working with the youth, which is the target of this campaign, a lot of times when like the spring safety flings in the schools or when we have these booths, we have new children that are being exposed to it because it's a certain grade level. And so there's always new kids coming into that grade. And so it's new to them. So while again, to some of us, it might seem kind of old and tired, we still get a lot of enthusiasm, and it's a first time for many of the youth in our community. So I don't know that we'll totally do away with it. We might alter it and try to incorporate some other interactive prevention education opportunities especially for our community booth. But I did want to share that we get a lot of positive feedback, and as the younger new kiddos come in, they really like that campaign. And then another suggestion was more youth intervention training. And I wasn't exactly sure what that meant either. And I look for more detail so that we don't go down a rabbit hole before we would move forward or look into these anymore or pursue possibly implementing them. So again, this was another one for a conversation, or please share some feedback in the comment box if you were the one that made that suggestion. All right, let me check in as I change topics. So this is the part of the meeting where I really wish we were all in a room together. It seems very impersonal to be sitting at my dining room table talking to my laptop, when I would love to share in a room the celebration of all the volunteers that work with the coalition. I didn't know how much longer we were going to be working remotely. It looks like there might be some integration back to normal in sight, but I didn't want to stall any longer. This is an annual celebration of our volunteers and all that they do for the coalition. And so I'm going to share the results of the nominees for Volunteer of the Year, and then who actually won Volunteer of the Year. And I just want to say that, as I've already said today, but I can't say it enough, that without all of our volunteers and all of the active members that are part of the coalition, we couldn't do what we do. And we recognize that there are many amazing places many gaps to fill and organizations that could use your help. And so we're very grateful that you're here working with us. For those of you that might not know, this voting is done anonymously, and it's just fellow MADC members. Staff is not eligible. And then anyone who's nominated, we present them with a certificate, and the actual volunteer of the year gets a certificate, and then their name goes on a plaque that we have in our meeting room, and we also put their picture up for a year. This year, our certificates and thank yous will be mailed. We'll still, Cheryl will offer a hug as soon as we see you in celebration. So it's kind of with a little bit of a heavy heart that we do this remotely, but I didn't want to hold off our gratitude and our celebration of our volunteers. So with that, I want to congratulate Terry Austin, who was nominated. She has been nominated for Volunteer of the Year by the fellow coalition members. She has been a member of the coalition for more than 2 years and serves as the parent sector representative on the executive committee. She has contributed to furthering the MADC mission through expanding partnerships and prevention resources for local PTAs. She has also volunteered at a variety of events, including the middle school spring safety flings. Terry and her daughter were the guest speakers at the 2019 annual Recovery Day breakfast, where they shared their personal journey through recovery from a mother and daughter's perspective. Congratulations, and thank you not only for your service, but for the compassionate way that you share it. So Terry, congratulations, and thank you very much for your service. Next up, we have Dawn Tollon. Congratulations. She is our school sector rep. Dawn has been nominated. This is her second nomination, a tribute to her ongoing dedication to prevention and the partnership between West Ada School District and the Meridian Anti-Drug Coalition. A fellow MADC member said it best. Dawn continuously looks for ways to be involved and engage in prevention education in West Ada schools. She attends various meetings, provides quick responses to emails, and attends trainings to stay current, and has an amazing heart for service. She is always looking for ways to engage various agencies and departments to keep communication open and flowing. Thank you for your continued service, and congratulations. So strange not to have any applause, and we usually take a picture, but here we go. Next up, Earl Sharf. Earl has been nominated for Volunteer of the Year by fellow coalition members, and this is his second year in a row. His service to MADC began when he was an SRO for Meridian Police Department. He has continued to serve on a voluntary basis as the youth serving sector representative on the executive committee since retiring from the Meridian Police Department. As stated by a fellow member, Earl has been involved with the youth and has encouraged them to participate in the prevention work of the MADC. He has helped expand the coalition's partnership with Holy Apostles and increase student engagement with Idaho State University. Congratulations, and thank you for your continued dedication to preventing substance abuse in our community. So well done. Thank you, Earl. And next up, we have Howard Davis. Howard has been nominated as well. He has been a member of our coalition for several years and has served as the business and youth serving sector representative on the executive committee. And this is Howard's third nomination for Volunteer of the Year. Howard regularly volunteers at events and does an excellent job teaching fellow volunteers how to engage community members in prevention education. I've learned quite a few things from Howard. Howard spends most of his time working with youth, and as coalition members state, he is very passionate about our cause. Thank you for your continued service over the years, and congratulations, Howard. And the actual Volunteer of the Year is Cole Satterfield. So congratulations, Cole. Cole serves as our youth sector rep, and on top of all the other commitments, including the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council and several others, National Honor Society, he's a student at Renaissance. He took on the leadership role as our youth sector rep with the coalition, and we're super grateful for the work that he's done. While serving as the youth sector rep, Cole helped organize youth volunteers for many of the roughly 70 events MADC participated in over the last year. He also helped expand the coalition's partnership with Renaissance High School's National Honor Society and their lead role in the statewide sticker shock campaign. Coalition members state, we've been impressed with his commitment in rallying students to become involved with MADC. Cole's dedication to prevention has been exemplary. Thank you for your service and congratulations on being MADC's 2020 Volunteer of the Year. I'm not even sure, I can't see everybody. I hope Cole's on here. I'm super excited for him. It's been a little hard to get a hold of him with school being closed and everything that's going on. And so we'll be sending him this certificate and a thank you in the mail, but also reaching out to honor him with our congratulations. So I really appreciate everybody. And again, we'll catch up more in person when it's more personable. So as we move along, checking my time again, sector representatives. So we're in the process of changing out some of our older, oh, that came out wrong, right? Some of our experienced sector representatives and moving on in with some new ones. And so I wanted to recap that so everybody knows who is on the executive committee and if they need to reach out to different people in different sectors, who their contact would be within the coalition. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to our sector representatives that are going to be returning as general members of the coalition. And Mary Liz Jones was our religious sector rep, and she's been with us for several years, and we want to thank her for her service. Sergeant Brandon Frazier was also sector rep for, I believe, about 3 years, and very helpful. Thank you. Howard Davis, he was our business sector rep. Thank you for your service, Howard. And Cole Satterfield was our sector rep for a year, which is very common with our youth because they're growing up and moving on. As far as continuing service, I want to extend a great thank you to those that have found it worth their time and effort to stay on as sector reps. Esmeralda, Brenda, Terry, Nicole, and Earl, we look forward to continuing our work with you. And thank you again for your time that you share with the coalition. And then a big thank you and welcome all at the same time to our new sector representatives. So we have Ann Little Roberts, who will be serving as the business sector rep, Lieutenant Sean Harper, who will be our law enforcement sector rep, David Phillips as our media sector rep, Milt Smith as our religious or faith sector rep, and then Jeannie Bouchine is gonna she's making a return as our school sector rep, and she's sharing that position with Dawn Tolan. Jeannie was previously the representative, back when West Ada only had one person to help with the tasks that the two of them now share. And so we're welcome to have Jeannie back. As we continue to collaborate with Cole, we will have a new youth sector rep that's yet to be determined. And that just leaves us with one of our 12 sectors positions open, which is the civic and volunteer sector rep. So if you know of anyone or you think you might be interested in learning more about what that responsibility would entail, feel free to reach out and we can send you some information or have a conversation and answer any questions that you might have. So again, a big thank you to all of our volunteers and how this all comes together to help us do the work that we do in our community. So just a quick update. Goodness, I think just about all of our spring events were canceled or postponed. Excuse me again. I think I need some water. The events at Holy Apostles, we had a take back scheduled, and we also had a lunch and learn scheduled, and we will reschedule with them at a later time. So that one's not a total loss or a cancellation. So we're happy about that and our continued partnership there. We did have to cancel our alcohol compliance check and shoulder tap operation that was funded with our Idaho Office of Drug Policy grant funds, and because our fiscal year was going to end before we would be able to report out on that operation. I will reapply for funding, and hopefully we will have 2 of those operations as we have over each year for several years now. So we'll get that rescheduled and do that. The prescription drug take back that was in partnership with Blue Cross and Crime Stoppers and the Better Business Bureau. We'd put a lot of work into that and had a huge success last spring, and we're bummed to have to cancel that event as well. That one we're just going to go ahead and plan for next spring and do it next year. While we put out all of our information on the cancellation of these events, we've also tried to provide resources and opportunities for education relating to them. And with the take back that we had scheduled with Blue Cross, we are promoting the permanent drop-off locations and have shared that link via social media and other platforms as well. And then last but certainly not least, the Unplug and Be Outside with City of Meridian. The kick-off event has been canceled, but they will have some online presence. And then specifically to MADC, Monty Stiles volunteered to teach the outside photography class, and that has been canceled, and we're going to try to supplement that with some online suggestions for finding new activities and discovering new natural highs. And then just a couple last minute things before I then turn it over to a couple of the coalition members that wanted to speak today. Again, send me an email if you didn't get any of your or all of your questions or comments answered, and make sure that you signed in or typed your name into the chat box so that we can see who was here today. And if you called in, please just send me an email. And now, oh, I think I skipped a slide. Hold one sec. Here it is. I knew I was missing a couple things. Without the meeting this last month, we've been taking care of some business, and I wanted to thank the Coalition Executive Committee members for approving the amended bylaws. I've been in contact with Telford Racing, and they're excited to partner with us this next year. Fingers crossed, so far it hasn't impacted Meridian Speedway and the races that we want to collaborate on. So we're looking forward to having Zach as our Natural High ambassador. And a big congratulations to David Phillips, our new media sector rep. At the meeting in February, I had shared a job opportunity announcement for Community Coalitions of Idaho. And David has been offered that position and has been in there a few weeks, maybe a month or so now. So we're happy to have him working in that position. He's got a lot of prevention background, and he promised me that he would stay on as the media sector rep as well. So we're happy to have him with us. When things do start to return to normal, we'll pick up on some of the action planning and strategy implementation that we had been working on. I've got lots of information compiled, and there was lots of good feedback through the annual satisfaction survey, where we can work on figuring out what kind of things we want to work on as we go forward. So we will resume that hopefully in May. I already mentioned this, sending me an email or typing your name in the chat box. And now I will turn it over. I have to see if I can find everybody here. Elizabeth Hoyt with Project Filter wanted to share some information. Here she is. Oh, you're ready to go. Perfect. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Hi, guys. Thanks for allowing me to talk with the group, Kendall. I'm really happy to be here, and I see a lot of familiar faces of people who I've been working with and mixing with in different circles, and also some new faces and people who I hope to connect with in the near future. So I think most of you are aware of what Project Filter does, but I just wanted to give you a quick outline of some of our services and ways in which we might be able to work with your different organisations. So I'm not sure if some of you have heard, Idaho launched My Life, My Quit in December of last year. So My Life, My Quit is a youth-specific cessation program to help youth quit vaping. And I think, one of the great reasons why I reached out to Kendall and why I'm really interested in working with this group is, from conversations that I've had with high schoolers, we've really seen that it's easy to make that transition for young people to be vaping flavors, nicotine flavors, to go from vaping THC flavors. So it's much easier for kids to make that jump now. And I've had a lot of conversations with young people about that. So there's definitely a problem here in Idaho with, kids going from vaping flavors to vaping THC. So we have a lot of youth-specific programs in Project Filter. In addition to My Life, My Quit, we're also in the process of rolling out a youth and young adults program, which is targeted on that age group of 18 to 21, where it's now illegal for under 21-year-olds to be vaping nicotine products, but they're still able to access NRT, so nicotine replacement therapy, to help them quit. So we've got My Life, My Quit, which is really targeted at that younger cohort. and then a youth and young adults program for that 18 to 24-year-olds, so 21-year-olds. So if you and your organization needs any marketing materials, promotions, posters, please reach out to me and let me know. We can definitely help you and provide you with any material that you need. In addition to that, Project Filter, we actually sponsor athletes around Idaho. I don't know if anyone has seen us or requested our athletes to come give presentations at your events, but basically we have world-class rodeo guys, race car drivers, motocross. We're getting into mountain biking. You know, we really find that our athletes, when they're giving presentations to young people, they really resonate with, you know, with young people, and it just basically, like the Zach Telford partnership that you guys have, that's sort of what we're doing. We actually work with Zach as well. And he's awesome, and we just really find that that resonates with young people. So if you need any of our athletes to come to your organization, if you're having you know, an event with young people, we're happy to provide resources to give presentations as well. So Kendall can pass out my contact details, but please connect with me if we can help in any way. I really see a lot of synergies with our work, and I'm happy to help provide you with any promotional or athlete resources that you might need. Thanks, Kendall.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate the information, and we will definitely share your contact information after the meeting.
Awesome.
All right. Cheryl, would you like to share your ideas? Are you there, Cheryl?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Cheryl, go ahead and unmute yourself again.
Oh, try that and see. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yep. If everybody could give Cheryl a thumbs up so that she can see in the video, if you guys can hear her.
Okay. So
Okay.
thank you all for being here.
Go ahead.
I'm hearing feedback. I wasn't able to hear what Kendall was saying, but I know we talked about the seniors in high school, seniors in college, and I was wondering if there's something that we're able to do for our seniors for the coalition, either getting their pictures in the paper, sending them a letter, some type of recognition from the business. Please feel free to email, let us know what they are. We have a lot of seniors that are missing their graduation. Over the years, we've had many. Our youth, she's graduating college, but she won't get to walk the stage. She'll have her diploma mailed to her. She's been an active part. So if anyone has some wonderful ideas that we can recognize our seniors, please email or put in the chat box, let us know. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. I'm toggling here. Cheryl, I'll go back through. I haven't been following the chat box. I've had Sarah and Cheryl following that. So we'll go back through and make sure that we address any comments or questions. But that's all that we had scheduled for the meeting today. I hope that you're all safe and healthy. The impact of COVID is definitely far-reaching, and it's impacting all of us in different ways. And if there's anything that we can do to help support you through these times, let us know. And I certainly look forward to when we can see each other in person and come back together. And I appreciate you taking the time to log on today and be a part of the meeting. And I hope to see you soon. So that's it for today. Thank you, everybody.